The name is Mamdani. Mamdani. The name is Mamdani. I've had that stuck in my head literally all day for the past weeks. That's my mayor. It's November 5th and that's my mayor. I don't live in New York. I live in Cleveland, but that is my mayor. Do not get it twisted. Honestly, low-key, kind of the first time in a year I woke up and reading the news actually gave me hope rather than a pit of dread. Yeah, it was a really, I would say, successful election day. We got Mamdani, Prop 50, was it Virginia, New Jersey, and then Detroit also? I need to go back and look, but a little bit of hope, and I forgot what hope felt like, and it feels good, and this just really emphasizes how important it is to vote, to go out and vote. Turn up, show up if you can. Voting is a privilege, and if you can vote, please use your voice, please. Anyway, that's my little spiel. I'm going to talk about what books I read in October and kind of go over the books I'm excited about reading in November. I don't make TBRs because I am a mood reader, and also I've been reading a lot of books based on what my library has. So it just depends what's available to me. Little mood boards at the beginning of every month. I love them, but I don't make hard and strict TBRs because I never stick to it. I feel like it put pressure on reading and made it more of a chore than it was just a fun hobby. So I have a little what's on my radar, and yeah, it is kind of fun to see what ones I do end up reading and then which ones I keep adding to my radar and never end up reading. So yeah, that's fun. But we'll start with the books I read in October. I read 8 books, so it was a pretty good reading month considering how busy it was. I will say I did find some new favorite reads, which is always really exciting. Again, a lot of audiobooks. I think 5 of them I listened to the audiobook. Most weeks are audiobook heavy. I work full-time and my commute to work is quite long, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And if you don't believe that audiobooks count as reading, then you can leave because that take is not welcome here. But we'll get into it. The first one I listened to was a memoir, and I listened to the audiobook. It was called, let me look. I'll Look So Hot in a Coffin. There was more to the title, I can't remember. Let me look. I'll Look So Hot in a Coffin and Other Thoughts I Used to Have About My Body. Now, it is a memoir, so I'm not gonna really get too deep into it because I used to rate every memoir I've ever read a 5-star. I used to get all of them a 5-star because who am I to rate someone's book that they wrote about their own lives? I don't do that anymore because I started reading more nonfiction and I started reading more memoirs, and some are better than others. I didn't love this one. It wasn't my favorite one that I've read. I don't know. I just couldn't really get into it, but I was also listening to it when I was in DC, kind of just walking around the city. So I don't necessarily know if I gave it a fair chance, but I ended up giving it 3 stars because there were, again, parts I liked about it. And I do think it was a very interesting story. I just didn't necessarily love it, But the next book I read was Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. It was so good. I wish it was longer. That was my only takeaways. I wish it was longer. I love Ali Hazelwood, and I know a lot of people have every book is the same, personal opinions. If you don't like her, that's way fine. I literally don't care. You're allowed to not like the books that I like, but Ali Hazelwood just does it every time for me. She makes me giggle. She just, I don't know. She does. I just love her work, and it was a little novella and it was perfect. I gave it 5 stars. I wish it was physical. I wish I had it. It was just an audiobook, but I want it so bad. The next book I read was Her Soul to Take. And let me tell you, I have had this book on my radar for years, but I never picked it up. I'm really iffy with dark romance. I either love it or I hate it, and there's no in between. So I tend to kind of avoid it just in case I hate it. But I finally picked it up, and I'm so glad I did. This was so good. It is so spicy. It is so spicy. It is not for everyone, and that's way fine. I loved this book. I immediately went and bought the second one. It was so good. If you haven't read it and you like a dark, spicy romance, look it up. Definitely look up trigger warnings. But I just loved it. I don't know what it was about it that I necessarily loved. I'm also going back and I'm what was the plot? he's a demon and she summons him, and he's like notorious for killing the people that summon him, but she doesn't kill anyway. You know, I promise I read it, but I cannot remember the plot to save my life. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I gave it like 4.5 stars. Yeah, 4.5 stars. Big fan. I'm gonna read the second one soon. I'm so excited. The next book I read, Mate. I read Mate. If you know me, you know how much I love this book. I didn't shut up about it. I made a spread for it in my journal. Oh, just wait, you guys. I loved this book. I loved Bride, and this book to me was better than Bride. I loved it so, so much. Cohen, the love of my life. I literally, you can kind of see my tabs. Big fan of this book. I genuinely just like loved the trust and the communication between Cohen and Serena. Just everything. Ella Hazelwood, chef's kiss, perfection. Please never stop writing. Please. I'm going to read every single book you write ever. Okay? And then I've also kind of been on like a mystery thriller kick. And so while I was reading Mate, I was also listening to the audiobook of The Last Fairy Out. And I literally saw it. The reason I read it was because it was on a list of books where the twist like is a good twist, right? And I know I'm in the minority here, but I just didn't love it. The twist just didn't really hit that hard for me. I don't know. Something about it, the twist just didn't really, the payoff wasn't there. Like, it just, to me, was like, okay. But I know I'm in the minority, so don't let it, like, ruin the book for you if you want to read it. After that, I read The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. This was kind of another miss for me. I love Lisa Jewell's books, but this one just felt like the twist didn't hit as hard as her other books. And I felt like with Lisa Jewell, sometimes I literally get like a pit in my stomach and I can feel like uneasy reading her books. And I don't know if it's because I was listening to the audiobook like as I was driving and like I listened to it over a long period of time. But I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. I couldn't really get into it. I don't know if I said I gave that one 2 stars. Sorry. I read The Favorites. If you know me, you know how much this book like had me by the throat. The best way I was explaining this book to everyone is rage bait. Like, it's literally rage bait. It's so infuriating. My heart was aching, but in a good way. In a good way. I know it sounds awful, but in a good way. I always say a good book is a book that makes you feel. And this one sure did make me feel. It sure did make me feel. I was so emotional reading this book. I mean, I cried more times than I can even count. I felt so strongly for the characters and the situations, and there was just so much to this book that I just loved, and I genuinely had no expectations for this book. I saw it when it came out, added it to my like mental list, but wasn't really like, I need to read that one immediately. And then I got the audiobook from the library and I was like, okay, I'm going to start listening to it because my loan's going to be up soon. I had to go buy it because my loan was going to be returned before I finished it. I shit you not, you guys, I didn't think about anything but this book the entire time I was reading it. It was so good. I gave it 4.5 stars though because I talked about it in the last video. I posted a little bit like more in depth, but the ending fell a little flat for me, but not in the sense I didn't like how it ended. I just wish it was rushed. And I think that like this book is so messy and so complex that like the ending, and again, I feel like maybe I would have felt that way no matter how the ending was done or like the pacing of the ending, but because it is such a messy, complex book, I did feel like the ending was super, super rushed and I wanted more screaming, fighting. I wanted more of the nitty gritty of like how we get from point A to point B, if that makes sense. But 4.5 stars. I did love it. I've recommended it to everyone in my life who hasn't read it. I'm like, please read it immediately. I need to yap about it. If anyone wants to yap about it, let me know. Okay. And then the last book I read was The Husbands. I actually listened to the audiobook and then I got this as a gift for someone. So this is not my copy, but I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. And again, it was another book I had no expectations for. I had seen it when it came out, added it to my mental list, and then got the audiobook on Libby and said, okay, fair enough, I'm just gonna listen to it. No expectations. I loved this book. I thought it was so funny and also just like so good. I literally, though, my review said, you know what, I'm gonna stay single. This book did remind me why I'm single and why I'm gonna stay single. But I loved it. And I just think all the different husbands in the concept was so silly. Like, she gets home one night and she has a husband out of nowhere. And he goes up into the attic and a new husband comes down. And every time that husband goes into the attic, another one comes down. And it's just such a silly story. But I really liked the ending and I really liked the deeper message in it. And it was just really good. So I do really recommend this book. It was a 5-star for me. It's also not that long. It's a really easy read. But yeah, those were the books I read in October. Like I said, it was a good reading month. I think I read good books, but I kind of just wish I read a little bit more diversely. I did a lot of like the same type of thing I've been reading. So next month, we're getting out of our comfort zone a little. Now, the number one book on my TBR, Legendborn, okay? I have owned this book I bought it in February, okay? I have not read it yet because I have not been in the mood for it. And I've heard such amazing things about this book. And I just haven't been in the mood for fantasy. I like haven't been in the right headspace for it. And I didn't want to force myself to read it when I wasn't in the mood because I want to love this book. I know I'm going to love this book. So I wanted to give it a fighting chance, okay? But I'm in the mood for it. I'm going to start it probably this weekend. I'm going to Columbus to visit my friends on Saturday, but I think on Sunday I'm fully just having a reading day. My only thing to do on Sunday is to read, okay? Very excited about that. I follow Eden on TikTok and I trust every recommendation she has ever given. Ever. I just trust her opinion. And she recently read and recommended this book and I did buy it immediately. I am on a no buying for the rest of the year. Like, I cannot buy any more books, any more clothes, nothing. Okay, I'm on a no buy for the rest of the year. So I did go and scoop this up really quick before, I think it was literally October 31st. It was Halloween. I went to the store and I bought this because it just, like I said, I feel like I'm finally in the mood for fantasy. So I feel like November, my radar is very fantasy heavy, okay? And then, obviously, the second book, I do have this. I love this. I'm so excited to read this. But this, I feel like, is going to be more of like an in-between fantasy books, if you know what I mean. Like, read a fantasy book before I dive into a new world. This one. Because I already am established in the world. I'm already established with the characters. And then I do have this book, Lila Sage Soul. I'm not saying the titles. Maybe I should say the titles, okay? Second Death of Locke, okay? Forgot to say the title. The Second Death of Locke, Her Soul for Revenge. Kind of important detail. And then Soul Searching by Lila Sage. And I have read her other books and I love them and I'm very excited. I wanted to read this during spooky season, but it just didn't work out. I ran out of time. So I'm very excited for this. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of The Book Club for Troublesome Women and I really am liking it. I think I'm about like 70% done and it's really good so far. I also want to finish Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I'm like 300 pages in. Maybe that might be too generous. I'm maybe like 200 pages in. And it's really good, don't get me wrong. It is just frustrating me. And I think it's frustrating me in a way it's supposed to be frustrating me because the story is at a really frustrating point. I went to my friend's wedding last weekend and I talked about it with my friends and some girlies at the table. And ultimately, everyone agrees that it's really frustrating, but the people who have finished it said they really liked it and it was really good. So I'm going to power through. I'm going to finish it. And then, yeah, some other books on my radar. I have Is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. If you know me, you know Emily Austen is my favorite author. And I got this arc on NetGalley and I need to charge my Kindle so I can read it because the fact that I haven't read it yet is diabolical, okay? And then Bound by Ali Hazelwood, the Spotify audiobook. Will be reading. Lights Out, I requested the audiobook on Libby. Don't know if I'll get to it. Rewind It Back, I did read. It was really good. I do think it was the perfect book to close out the Windy City series. Big fan. I feel like a teacher. What else do I got? But yeah, there's just a lot of good books on here, you guys. I still haven't read Great Big Beautiful Life, Great BBL, Emily Henry. I'm sorry, I haven't read it. I haven't been in the mood, and I think I don't want to ruin it, okay? That's a common theme for me. If I'm not in a mood, I will wait to read it. Intermezzo, I still want to read that one. The Compound, I do really want to read that one. Hence why they're all on my radar. I want to read them all. The Bright Years, I actually do have that audiobook I need to listen to. But I kind of want to read that one. I might return it, and I might see if I can get the physical or digital, okay? What else? Oh yeah, Space Vampire. That one I was thinking could be a good palate cleanser in between more serious books. I don't know what it's about. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a single thing about that book. I just saw it on Goodreads and I said, that seems silly and fun. I'm gonna add it to my TBR. But yeah, that's my little... You can take a look-see, see if there's anything else I missed. But that's my little yap session about books, what I've read, what I want to read. I'm very curious to see what I will end up reading in the month of November. I feel like it could either be all those books I just listed or none of them. I could go completely off track and read 10 other books that even aren't on the list. I have done that before. I now have a set schedule of work, so I work the same hours every week. And it's very exciting. I used to literally work different hours every week and I wouldn't know till the Friday before. So I feel like I was never in a consistent routine with life, my habits, my reading, working out, social. I was a mess all the time. But I now have a set schedule. I'm very excited about it. And yeah, I feel like I'm now like getting my life together. I feel like I'm getting in more of a healthy routine with a lot of things. I do need to work on my doom scrolling habit, but we'll get there. Maybe that's for another time. For now, I'm gonna go make dinner and probably watch 911 because what else would I be doing? And no, I lied. I'm gonna go finish my audiobook, The Book Club for Troublesome Women, because it is due in like 12 hours and I think I have like 20% left to listen to. So we have some work to do. Anyway, thanks for staying and hanging out. If you did, if you didn't, that's fine. You're not seeing this anyway. So bye.